Hello, hello, wonderful people, and welcome back to another Chris McPherson Show Daily Dose. We are talking all things the US Open. We are casting our eyes ahead to day three. We will talk day two very briefly, and look, it was a reasonably predictable day in many ways. A lot of favourites getting it done. Great news for the Aussies. Daria Kasatkina won in straight sets. We also saw Priscilla Hon get an upset win over Leolia Jean-Jean in straight sets, which that was wonderful to see. Great to see some of our Aussies starting to head into the winners' circle. Unfortunately, Talia Gibson did bow out to Magdalena Frech, which means that she will be going back to the drawing board and looking at her future for 2026 when we talk Grand Slams. But yeah, it was certainly really positive from the women's side, and it was even more positive from the men's side. We had certainly probably one of the bigger wins when we talk about Adam Walton getting over Ugo Humbert, the 22nd seed in 4 sets. So that was a huge headline and highlight. Humbert wasn't the only men's seed to bow out. Mickelson also bowing out, the 28th seed from the US. Unfortunately for the other Aussies, Alexander Vukic, despite trading set for set with Jensen Brooksby, did unfortunately go down in the 5th set. It was an enthralling long match over the 5 sets for him, and he did bow out, acquitted himself very well. James Duckworth didn't take nearly as long, upset by the American wildcard in Tristan Boyer, went out in straight sets, 3, 5, and 4. So a few disappointing results there, but again, the big positive is obviously Adam Walton. Other big winners, Cameron Norrie in the men's, Jack Draper getting it done as well. Holger Rune, Francis Tiafoe, Andre Rublev, Casper Ruud, and Carlos Alcaraz. The Canadian Gabriel Diallo as well winning out in the women's. Mira Andreeva dominant. Karolina Mukova took 3 sets to get past Venus Williams. A little bit surprising. Williams fought back in the second set, but faded out in the third. Alina Svitolina, the 12th seed, did bow out in the women's. Caroline Garcia, obviously a former deep runner, she went out. Elena Rybakina, the 9th seed, won. Elisa Mertens won. One of the big upsets, Madison Keys bowing out in the first round, losing to Renata Zarazua from Mexico. That was a huge scalp. And Victoria Mboko, we talked about her yesterday, bowing out the winner from Montreal, losing to Barbora Krejcikova 3-2 on Louis Armstrong. So that's a big shock. So a few more seeds starting to fall. But it is time, of course, to look ahead to Wednesday, Australian time, Tuesday, US time, and what is now going to be day 3 of the US Open. And we will, as we have done each of the days, we will start with Aussie Watch. And let's talk about a big one first up. Isla Tomljanovic is going to come up against Coco Gauff. This is a huge match. It's going to be on Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's going to be in the night session. And Tomljanovic, we know she's been as high as 32 in the world, but yet to win a tournament on the main tour. When we have a look at Coco Gauff, 2 Grand Slam titles, just 21 years of age, ranked 3, seeded 3, has a 1-0 head-to-head record against Tomljanovic. That was on clay, though, but again, that was, I think, the Paris Olympics from memory, and it was a pretty comprehensive win. Tomljanovic not having a great year on the hard courts, and look, she bombed out the second round of Monterrey, funnily enough, beating Zarazua, who we were just talking about, in the first round before losing to Ekaterina Alexandrova. She lost in the second round at Cincinnati, the first round at Montreal. Hasn't had a deep run really in anything recently, as opposed to when we have a look on the other side. Gauff got to the quarterfinals of Cincinnati, losing to the eventual finalist in Jasmine Paolini, lost to the eventual winner in Montreal and Victoria Mboko. So while she didn't perform well at Wimbledon, she certainly started to find some form on the hard courts. And look, I'd love to find a narrative here that says Tomljanovic rattles her. I think she's got the game to mix it with her, but I'm just going to say that Coco Gauff should win this one in straight sets. She needs to bounce back from that poor performance at Wimbledon. Not a great news story for the Aussies. Tomljanovic won't be advancing too much further up the rankings at the moment. I see her bowing out here in the first round. Another big test, another top 10 seed for an Aussie is Kim Birrell. She is taking on Amanda Anisimova. These two have never played on the tour before. Birrell ranked 83 at the moment. She's been up as high as 60 and not having a shocker of a year. She's 19-9 on the hard courts, which is pretty solid when you have a look at where she's ranked. She's had a pretty solid year overall, a winning record. Anisimova, though, we know what she's done. She made it through to the fourth round at Montreal. She made it to the final at Wimbledon, where she absolutely did get double bageled by Iga Swiatek. She then made it to the third round also at Cincinnati. We haven't really seen that from Birrell. We've seen a couple of entries. She lost to Mboko in the first round at Montreal, so you could say what could have been. She lost in the second round to Jessica Pegula, and then at Cincinnati in the first round last week in Cleveland, or a week and a half ago in Cleveland. Again, this one just stacks up so well for Anisimova. She's going to be absolutely firing on the hard courts, I think. And when you have a look at it, there's a reason she's ranked in the top 10. There's a reason that she's seated where she is. She's seated number 8, which bodes well for her to make a run again to the quarterfinals and continue marching on at just 23. Birrell, look, she can be gritty. She can be a little bit tricky, but I think Lewis Armstrong in the evening or early afternoon session, Anisimova is just going to be far too strong in the heat. She's going to play really well there, and I think Anisimova will get this done in straight sets. Again, another tough story for the Aussies, unfortunately. The final one, Maya Joint, she comes up against Victoria Jimenez Kasintseva from Andorra. Kasintseva ranked 130, Joint in the 40s now. She's had a good season. We know that she's picked up some titles this year. She's been quite strong from that point of view. These two have played twice in ITF matches, so not main tour. Joint is 2-0 in that head-to-head battle, I believe. So 1-1. They played a week apart. So interestingly enough, and Joint won by retirement in the second of those clashes. So interesting to see that they played in back-to-back weeks in Eastern Europe. But Joint, 41-21 this season. We saw she made the third round at Cincinnati, the second round at Montreal. We know she won that final against the Arla in Eastbourne in the lead up to Wimbledon, but hasn't really shown that form at the biggest titles. So interesting to see that Jimenez Kasintseva has been playing sort of in some lesser tournaments. She was in Warsaw a couple of weeks ago in Poland, where she made the semi-finals, going down to Katerina Siniakova. But she has made a name in qualifying here, knocking out 2 Aussies in her final rounds of qualifying, Astra Sharma in 3 sets, and then Emerson Jones, a young Aussie gun. Probably the heir apparent to follow Maya Joint through the ranks here as an Aussie star that we've been talking about. I think Joint, if her ceiling is where we think it will be, and the hard courts do suit her, which I think whilst the grass is really strong for her, I think the hard courts will suit her as well. She's got a really versatile game, and I think the Joint will actually get this one done in straight sets. Positive to be tipping an Aussie, which is really nice. So can't wait to see that matchup, and hopefully Joint advancing to the second round. Next up, we head to court 12, where Lorenzo Sonego, we know he's formerly been ranked on the cusp of the top 20. He will come up against Tristan Schoolkate, who's snuck his way inside the top 100 in recent times. And look, he's played a lot of hard court tennis this year. It's been the focus of his tennis this year. He's played 50 matches on the hard courts. Sonego, up and down, probably a bit more suited to the natural surfaces, you would think, the way he plays. He's 10-10 on the hard court so far this season, so hasn't had his best last couple of years. He was probably in much better form when we go back to 21 and 22, but hasn't had a winning season on hard court since prior to COVID. Has a losing career record on hard courts as well. This could be a bit of an opportunity after some of his recent results for Schoolkate to maybe get a little bit of an upset here. I like him as an outside chance. He made it through to the second round at Toronto after qualifying. These two, interesting, similar sort of paths. Neither of them really deep runs at too many tournaments in recent times. But, I certainly think that Schoolkate's got the ability to maybe go deep here. I'm going to go Sonego to win it in 5. But, again, I think there's an outside chance that Schoolkate could spring a little bit of a surprise here. I just think there's something there in the early hours tomorrow morning on court 12. We'll wait and see how young Schoolkate can go. 24 years of age, the Aussie. So it'd be a great upset if he could join Adam Walton in the second round. Speaking of people aiming for the second round, Alexei Popyrin, he has slid outside of the seedings after earlier this year being ranked inside the top 20. A little bit of an up and down run in recent times. And again, off the back of a good clay court season, hasn't followed that up on the grass and the hard court. So a little concern for Popyrin. These guys have met before in 2023 at Cincinnati, and Popyrin came into that one as a lucky loser and made it deep into the tournament, beat Rusevori on the hard court. So, again, a hard court matchup, which bodes well, but it does go back to 2 years ago. Normally, Popperin, a pretty solid hard quarter. When he's in good form, he carries that onto the hard courts. Hasn't necessarily done that this year, as I said, but neither has Rusevori. Just one win on hard courts this year. He hasn't played a lot of tennis. Been playing more challenges and stuff, Rusevori, in recent weeks. He was playing in Zagreb back in May, I should say recent months. So, as for Popperin, went down to Rublev in Cincinnati, knocked out by Zverev in the quarterfinals in Toronto, trying to defend his title there. So he did get past Medvedev and Rune at the time, so two fringe top 10 players in the third and fourth round. So I think he'll bring some confidence in. I think that he will more than likely get this done against Rusevori, which means he'll most likely face up against the one, the only Jannik Sinner in the second round, which is going to be tough. But I'm going to go Popperin to get this one done in straight sets and get another Aussie through to the next round. Wrapping out Aussie Watch, it's an all-Aussie encounter. Chris O'Connell, the 81st ranked Aussie, up against Alex de Minaur, the 8th ranked Australian. This is an all-Aussie encounter. We really love these. Really looking forward to seeing how this one matches up for the boys. Going to be an interesting clash as the highly touted de Minaur will be expected to go through, and you would expect that he would go through. But interestingly, they've only ever played once before on the tours, not the main tour, but O'Connell actually has a winning record, despite the fact that de Minaur holds 10 titles to O'Connell's 1. So that's a little interesting. Both have winning records this year on hard courts. So interesting to see. It goes back to the Australian Open wildcard playoffs that O'Connell in 2016, nearly a decade ago, these two clashed. So O'Connell not having the best season. He has got a winning record, as I said, on hards, but every other surface has been losing this year. de Minaur, though, 37-15. We saw that he did go out in the second round at Cincinnati against big serving Riley Opelka, but had made the quarterfinals where he went down to the rising Ben Shelton at Toronto. And actually, these two were scheduled, I think, to play in the third round there at Toronto, but O'Connell withdrew. So he's withdrawn from his last two tournaments. Doesn't bode well. So I'm going to go, de Minaur to get this one done in straight sets after O'Connell. As I said, he's withdrawn in the second round in Winston-Salem as well last week. So hopefully he's fit and healthy. Hopefully he can last this one out, but not looking great for Chris O'Connell. Certainly leaning to de Minaur in straight sets. We've got a handful of other matches for you to watch. We haven't just lent in and focused in on the top seeds. Some key matches that we think will be really interesting to watch. Marta Kostyuk up against Katie Bolter. This one for me, we know Bolter's been inside the seedings previously, but has drifted outside of them in recent times. These two will clash on the grandstand court, so looking forward to seeing how this one matches up. It'll be an interesting, match for the two of them. The Brit offers plenty. We know that when you have a look at this matchup, it's going to be, as I say, an interesting game. It'll be early on in the morning for them, and I think it might be the first match on grandstand. The 27th seed in Kostyuk, 28th ranked. She's had a winning season, as has Bolter, but Bolter has lost 5 of her last 6 matches and doesn't have a great record on the hard courts. Again, the natural surfaces suit her game really well, the partner of Alex de Minaur. We saw Kostyuk went out, again, withdrawal against Iga Swiatek in Cincinnati. She retired in Montreal in the quarterfinal against Elena Rybakina. So I actually don't mind maybe an upset here for Bolter. I don't know that Kostyuk is fully fit. So if she's not fully fit, I'm going to go with Katie Bolter to turn that record around and get this one done in 3 sets and just outlast her. Potentially even see Kostyuk may retire if her health is a bit of an issue. We'll wait and see how that shapes. But I'm going to go for Katie Bolter with a little bit of an upset here. The Brit up against the Ukrainian here. It'll be an interesting one. Next up, we stay on the women's, and we're going to talk about Katerina Siniakova up against Hailey Baptiste. Now, obviously, Baptiste will have the home crowd behind her. Plenty of Americans in action. This one will be out on court 17, mid-morning, if you will, for the Australian fans. And this is the 76th ranked Siniakova up against Baptiste, who's at a career high ranking, snuck inside the top 50, the youngster. And look, she's having a good season, both of them winning seasons. Baptiste has had a few challenges on hard courts. We know that this year, which is interesting. Normally the Americans come into their own on the hard courts, but she went out in the second round at Cleveland, went out in the first round to fellow American young gun Clervy Nuanui in the first round at Cincinnati. They're saying second round at Montreal. So she hasn't really gone on a run. But again, Siniakova, we talked about her before. She got over Jimenez Kasintseva in Warsaw and went on actually to win that title a few weeks ago. So that's an interesting one, but has been playing over on the European swing. Hasn't been getting in and playing in those tournaments in America and Canada in the lead up. So not sure how much to take from her form there, but again, she's got a winning record on hard courts. She's won a title her last start, but I think the home crowd here might get behind Baptiste, and I'm going to go Baptiste to get over the former top 30 ranked player in 3 sets here. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way, but I think what we're seeing from Baptiste is a little bit of a build, and looking forward to seeing a bit of home crowd momentum behind her against the Czech in Siniakova. That'll be an interesting one. Again, while we're still on the women's, let's wrap up our last match to watch. Jessica Buzas-Maniero up against Donna Vekic. Donna Vekic was on a surge last year. She was on an absolute tear. These two have played once before when we have a look at their head-to-head matchup, but it was way back in 2021 on a Spanish hard court in qualifiers at Tenerife. So Donna Vekic won that one as a qualifier, love and two. But again, I'm not sure how much we can take from something that was nearly 4 years ago. Buzas-Maniero is having a career year. Vekic, as I said, had her career year last year, a really strong record, 32-20. We know, obviously the Olympics, all those sorts of things that she did so well at. This year, losing record on every surface she's played at. She seems to have just lost her mojo. Lost in the second round to Elisa Mertens in Monterrey. Lost to Sorana Cestaya in the first round in Cincinnati. She went out in the second round of Wimbledon to Christina Buxa. She'd lost the second round, first round, second round in the lead up to that, in that second round at the French Open. So really struggled. But then we have a look at Buzas-Maniero. She made the quarterfinals at Montreal, where she lost to the eventual winner in Victoria Mboko. She made the fourth round, where she ended up losing to Arina Sabalenka at Cincinnati. I think there's lots of real positives to take out of what she's been doing. As I said, 25-19, 10-9 on the hards. And despite looking at where these two stack up in terms of their career peaks, it's an interesting one. Neither of them seeded, but both have the potential. Obviously, as we know, Vekic has been up there before, both ranked in the 40s now. Buzas-Maniero at a career peak, yet to win a title on the main circuit, but has 7 ITF titles to her name, just at 22 years of age. And I'm actually tipping Buzas-Maniero to get this done in 3 sets over Vekic. We know Vekic can be gritty, but she just doesn't seem to be performing at those levels that we've seen of her in 2024. Let's move on now to the men's side, and let's talk about Alexander Zverev. He comes up against former top 20 player Alejandro Tabillo. Again, a player who I think it's fair to say is not the most natural of hardcourt players, but can adapt his game to it. He has been having some really strong years on the hard courts the last couple of years, but has lost his mojo this time around. These guys have played once before, and it was when both players were seeded in May 2024 on the clay at Rome. It was a semi-final, and Zverev got it done in 3 sets. As I said, Tabillo really lost his mojo. Zverev, we know he had a bit of a clunky start to the year. He has come back from there. He made the semi-final at Toronto, the semi-final at Cincinnati. He has been in some strong form, whereas when we look at the comparative, it's just not there for Tabillo. I think Zverev is... he's a possible smoky if either Sinner or Alcaraz stumble here. The hard courts could match up okay for him. As I said, 43-16. He's sitting at number 3 in the world. He's managed to really put a grip back on that. He's 19-6 on the hard courts this year. A couple of semi-finals in the lead-up. I think he will absolutely blow away the Chilean here. I think this could be like a 2-1, 2-1-2 sort of scoreline, or a 2-1-3. Zverev to get this done comfortably and make a little bit of a statement on Arthur Ashe. This will be the last match on Arthur Ashe. It'll be lunchtime Sydney time, so looking forward to seeing that one tomorrow. The penultimate match we are going to talk about today is going to involve Lorenzo Musetti. Now, obviously, we know Musetti has made his way up into the top 10 of the rankings and is surging up. He's been up as high as 6 previously, but sitting at number 10 now, and Again, he will be one of the headlines for this tournament, being the 10th seed. But he's got a big clash first up on Louis Armstrong, up against Giovanni Mteshi Pericard, the big serving Frenchman. And this is one of those surfaces where if he can get his big serve firing, it could be dangerous. These two have clashed twice before. They have played on the grass. That suits Mazzetti really well. They played in Wimbledon in the fourth round where Mazzetti won that in 4 sets. And that gives me hope that Pericard could actually mix it with him. When we have a look at their other match, it was also in 2024. So they're both in 2024. Pericard took him on in Stuttgart with 2 tie breaks. If Pericard can take some break opportunities and keep his serve firing, it's going to be interesting. Both these guys have split records, 9-9 and 7-7 respectively on the hard courts. We saw last week Mteshi Pericard made it through to the semi-finals of Winston-Salem. Both of them bowed out at the first opportunity at Cincinnati. In Toronto, it was the third round where Alex Mickelson took out Mazzetti, and the second round where Holger Rune took out Mteshi Pericard. But yeah, I'm just not too sure. I know that Mazzetti made a deep run to the semi-finals before retiring at Wimbledon, but I have a feeling here that Mteshi Pericard might be up for an upset. This is one where I think there's some, if he can get his serve going and get Mazzetti off his game, I think it'll go to 4 or 5 sets. I'm going to go Mteshi Pericard to win this one in 4. A little bit of a left field prediction. But again, I think the big serving Frenchman can get it done. Let's find his rhythm, find his mojo. These courts should suit his game. Speaking of big servers, Marin Cilic comes up next, the 62nd ranked male. He was ranked number 3 before the Russian. He comes up against Kazakhstan's Alexander Bublik, who is now ranked 24 in the world. He's the 23rd seed, and Bublik is on an absolute tear. Both of these guys have only lost once and twice, respectively, in their last 10. My one concern, Cilic has not played a lot this season on hard courts, just 4 matches. But again, it's not Bublik's favourite surface either. When we have a look at it, 3 head-to-head matches, 20, 21 and 22. 2 of those in Rome on the clay, the other in London on the grass, and all 3 of those Marin Cilic has won. 3 sets each on the clay and straight sets on the grass. But as I said, going back 3 years now. The last we saw of Cilic, he made it to the 4th round of Wimbledon, which was quite surprising. Then we have a look on the other side. Bublik has been playing a lot of tennis. He made the final of Kitzbühel in late July, where he won that against Arthur Cazot. He made the final of Gstaad as well, but hasn't played since those tournaments, so not a lot of hard court practice. Means he should be fresh. This is going to be an interesting one, though. Again, when we have a look at the pedigree for Bublik, he's the 23rd seed. He's a tricky player. I'm going to go Bublik to get this one done in 4 or 5. I just think he'll outlast Cilic. Remembering that Cilic is 36 years old. He is a previous Grand Slam winner. We do know that, but I think Bublik will get it done. But I wouldn't be outrageously surprised if Cilic came out firing and managed to spring the upset here in the early matches on the grandstand court. So that'll be an interesting one. Certainly looking forward to what day 3 has to offer. It's going to be an absolutely cracking day of tennis. We've seen some great results so far. Looking forward to some more great results over the next few days as we head into the second round on day 4 and onwards. But until then, make sure you stay tuned to our channel for our weekly show for our Around the Grounds episode, which will drop on Thursday evening. There'll be plenty more too coming, as I said yesterday. Plenty bit of basketball around the NBL Blitz. We've got rugby union with the Women's World Cup happening. The cricket will be back again as the Aussies continue their cricket on home soil, building towards the Ashes. And plenty more on our daily doses. Of course, you can stay up to date with us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, on X, on TikTok, and on Facebook at The Chris Mack Show to keep up to date with all of our content. But until tomorrow, thanks again for tuning into our daily dose. We look forward to bringing you more of the black and white of your sport. No grey opinions here.